Well, this morning, Pokemon Wins and Pokemon Waves main theme recording behind the scenes video dropped. I'm excited to check this out. I'm actually excited for Pokemon Wins and Waves. I know it's like fun to not enjoy Pokemon these days, but I actually started playing Pokemon Black recently, so I'm really excited. So anyway, let's check it out and talk about it as we hear it. Ah yes, tuning. You know, tuning for a former opera singer is incredibly stressful. Whenever I hear tuning, it actually gives me like the tiniest bit of anxiety because it's like, because it means the beginning, you know. And we were always backstage, just like chilling, waiting to start, and there's something kind of stressful about it. But obviously there's also a little bit of that adrenaline build that comes whenever we hear tuning. I appreciate that they're recording it live, by the way. The sun is rising. Ooh, that's very like Fantasian. Gosh, who does that remind me of? That reminds me of, well, I said Fantasia, but obviously Fantasia is a collection of different composers and basically taking music and setting it to an imagery. So they're basically creating context out of classical pieces. But it feels very, the bubbles rafting up under the water and like bubbling up to the surface. Obviously, to me, it also feels like we wake up for the first time. Like the air feels like, you breathe in the air and it's bright and crisp and there's this sort of like mystery and vibrancy in it, you know? You see, because you get like there's a sort of sparkle in the sound. Also, all that stuff just kind of fills out to give us that continued sense of excitement and like, whoa, what's over there? I love it because it's actually very legato and it's all very connected. So even though there's like a little bit of excitement, there's also this like sort of natural stillness in it. Now it's gonna build. Yeah, see, so it's stacking the different instruments. There's the wind. Crescendo. Actually, wow, that's amazing. You hear the tension in this? We see our trainers, we tip our hats, and then you get that momentum. There's this wonderful buildup of momentum and intensity in that when you get the trombones and the horns, and it actually, I was expecting it to be a little bit more vibrant there as it showcases the world, but instead we actually got the battle sequence, which is pretty cool. Listen to the piano. That's like Rachmaninoff, though. There you go. Wow, this is a massive sound. This is so virtuosic. The piano is just ripping in the back. And it kind of, it makes me think about like the idea that like, this is a theme that we all know at this point. Ba, be, ba, 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 da, ba, 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 da, da, dee. First of all, it would be, I don't think this will happen, but it would be crazy if Pokemon Winds and Waves, like the entire soundtrack, was just like massively orchestral. In some ways, I actually don't think that this particular sound fits the Pokemon aesthetic, but it certainly would be pretty wild if like they were like, hey, you know what? screw it. Let's just make the entire soundtrack orchestral. but it also, it's interesting because we get a little bit of playfulness. God, the piano here is just crazy. This is like, feels very Rachmaninovian to me. Very big chords, jumps, leaps. And then we get that little lift, and that's the second time we get the lift. Pa 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 pee, you know? I also love how epic that is because of the way that they're sharply downbowing. Boom, frump, boom, frump. It has natural intensity because of how crisp and sharp the rhythm is. Also, in general, the French horn is such a heroic instrument to me, and like obviously we hear it in John Williams all over the place. It's in Star Wars everywhere. I think the Superman theme uses French. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure the French horn is predominant in the Superman theme as well. And so there's so much like power in that and heroicism in that individual instrument. It's cool to hear it kind of stick out. And so the piano is absolutely riffing while the trombones are just playing in unison. Nice slow down here, rallentando. See, it still has this like sense of mystery and wonder. That's a English horn there. Da-da-da. See, so that's interesting. So now we're on the journey of peace and adventure. It's also, if you think about it, this whole little corner here was actually a transition into the English horn. Listen to this. See right here, we right away the harp, kind of that movement of the harp leads us into, there's a bit of a slowdown into the next musical idea, which is probably just them paying homage to another one of the musical numbers, where here it's it's obviously more peaceful. We get the landscape, the underwater landscape, we get the seagulls and stuff. So there's a little bit more of that feeling of like, oh, this is a lived in world. This is so peaceful. This is so nice. This is so, yeah, it's cool. Listen to that. I mean, isn't that beautiful? So beautiful. And I think that really speaks, because then there's a duet with the oboe, and I think, like, to me that is the sound of like Pokemon. Pokemon are always by your side, and there's always this. They're soft, gentle creatures. Now, obviously, not all of them, but there is. It's not all about aggression and about winning battles. It's also about being at peace and tranquility with the environment and with this, this beautiful world that exists. This beautiful coral, or the very nice, gentle, crabbies. I forget their names. Crabbies on the beach, or you know what I mean. It's just so gentle. Now we're gonna kick in again. So it's both. Now we're going to get into the battle idea again. Yeah, main theme. Nice harmony in the trombones. That's beautiful. Oh, fake out. Yeah, nice. Well, why do we go back to a sense of mystery? That's interesting. There we go. Natural resolution. Ah. That is so lovely. I love how we kick back in. So we have, a couple musical ideas. We have the start, which is like the bubbling up of the water, the wind kind of flowing. We move into the main theme. Of course, we get introduced to our lovely little future companions, which is really nice. Of course, Pomsky, or whatever the heck that Pokemon will be called. That's the one I'll main. And then there's then we move into the battle theme, which is obviously such an important part of Pokemon's identity. I love that was actually where we kind of ended up in, so it kind of diverted expectation, only to switch to like, hey, Pokemon are awesome, they're so nice, they're so peaceful, they're fun, they're your friends, right? That's the ethos. And then we move into that beautiful aquatic, luxurious nighttime vibe, and then moving into, of course, the wonderful main theme again, and then going into that the sort of battle theme. And what's really amazing is the ending, actually, because there's this sort of scaling up the scale. And as we climb up the scale, we are constantly sort of hyping. Yeah, and then the release, right? And that's really important, because if it's just releases, the piece ends, but it doesn't necessarily have a cohesive experience. But building up to an ending is immensely satisfying. You know what I mean? Where is it? I think it's right here. First of all, this oboe and English horn duet, stunning. But listen to how the piano actually plays such a vital part in this, which is really nice. All right, so this is the stacking part. We have the main theme again. See how it gets bigger, climax bigger. We go up, but instead of doing that, right? That's such a nice thing, because it's a fake out. So instead of going ba-rum, ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-bum, that's what I thought they would do. But instead they go over to this weird ending where it's like, wait, no, the wonder of the world, Boom. It could have ended there too. Mystery. Tension. This is a world of peace. A world of beauty, a world of mystery, right? It ends in a whisper. That's really cool. It's really cool to end in a whisper, Gosh, that's really nice. That's really nice. I think that's really pretty. And oftentimes, what's tough about video game music sometimes is that we don't always get, full beginnings and endings. We sometimes get, a loop, or we get like sort of one recurrent thematic idea. But in the case of this little song, first of all, what a great way to highlight a new era of Pokemon. But also a way to give it like a proper, that is the main theme. And what is the main theme's purpose, chat? The main theme's purpose is to get us to get excited about what's to come. And so sometimes main themes have different overtures, have different thematic material that then will return within the opera or the piece of music or whatever, right? Like the musical. And so the prelude, the main theme, invites us to enjoy the journey. And after all, that's probably what Pokemon Winds and Waves will be, a journey. And that's really nice. So if you like this, feel free to subscribe, feel free to join the Discord, feel free to check out the Patreon if you want to support the channel more directly. Thanks a ton, and I'll see you later.